Look around you. The world is collapsing under the weight of weak men. Men who can't control their impulses. Men who can't control their lust. Men who can't control their anger. Men who can't control their need for attention, validation, and quick pleasure. And because they can't control themselves, they can't control anything. Not their relationships. Not their money. Not their destiny. The truth is simple, brutal, unshakable. The strongest man alive is not the one who conquers others. It's the one who conquers himself. Power without control is chaos. You can lift heavy. You can fight. You can earn money. You can even dominate women. But if you can't master your own impulses, you're nothing but a dangerous child. Strong on the outside, hollow on the inside. Think of the kings who lost empires because of lust. Think of the warriors who lost battles because of rage. Think of the leaders who lost everything because they couldn't tame their hunger for more. The collapse of men has never come from weakness of body. It has always come from weakness of self-control. Self-control is the quiet force that separates gods from mortals. Most men can't say no. No to lust. No to comfort. No to distraction. No to weakness. But the man who can say no to himself commands power that terrifies the world. Because he cannot be bribed by pleasure. He cannot be broken by temptation. He cannot be lured away from his path. And in a world where every man is addicted to something, the man who owns his mind becomes untouchable. Self-control is the seed of all discipline. Discipline doesn't start with schedules, habits, or routines. It starts with control. Control over your tongue when you want to lash out. Control over your hands when you want the easy fix. Control over your mind when it whispers lies of comfort. Discipline is simply self-control stretched across time. And if you can't control yourself in the moment, you'll never master yourself in the long run. Why do most men fail? Why do they chase instead of attract? Why do they live as slaves instead of kings? Because they are mastered by their appetites. They can't go a week without porn. They can't go a night without validation. They can't go a day without scrolling. They can't go an hour without comfort. And so they remain trapped. Not by the world, but by themselves. The battlefield is not out there. It's not in the gym. It's not in the boardroom. It's not in the streets. The battlefield is within. Your impulses are the enemy. Your lower self is the tyrant. Your craving for pleasure is the chain. And self-control is the sword that cuts it all. A man with strength but no control is a beast. A man with intelligence but no control is a manipulator. A man with wealth but no control is a slave to greed. A man with love but no control is a prisoner of emotion. But a man with self-control? He is sovereign. He governs himself. And because of that, he governs his destiny. The world tells you freedom is doing what you want. But that's a lie. Freedom is not doing whatever you want. Freedom is the ability to not do what destroys you. Most men are free to binge, free to waste, free to chase. But they are not free to stop. That is not freedom. That is slavery dressed as liberty. True freedom is saying no. True power is restraint. True manhood is self-mastery. Let's talk about women. You think women want your words. They don't. You think they want your attention. They don't. They want your control. Because control signals power. It signals that you are not desperate. That you are not led by lust. That you are not begging for validation. And the man who cannot be seduced by a woman's body? That is the man she craves. Not because he rejects her, but because he is not enslaved by her. He chooses her, not out of hunger, but out of sovereignty. Control and silence. When you hold your tongue instead of lashing out, that is strength. When you keep grinding while your body screams to quit, that is strength. When you stay calm while others lose their minds, that is strength. Self-control is the art of bleeding in silence and rising in power. It's the reason the Stoics preached restraint. It's the reason warriors practice discipline. It's the reason kings train patience. Because he who controls himself commands everything. But let's be real. It's not easy. Self-control will feel like suffocation at first. Because you're addicted to impulses. Because you've lived as a slave to desire for years. The first weeks of control will feel like war. Your brain will resist. Your body will beg. Your old self will fight to stay alive. But if you endure, if you bleed through the discomfort, a new version of you will be born. Sharper, calmer, stronger, alpha. This is why most men will never touch true power. They chase status, money, sex, fame. But they neglect the one thing that multiplies all of it: self-control. With self-control, wealth is protected. Without it, it vanishes. With self-control, women are drawn. Without it, they are lost. With self-control, respect is earned. Without it, it is mocked. With self-control, legacy is built. Without it, it collapses. Here's the hard truth. Self-control is boring. There is no applause, no validation, no instant gratification. It's early mornings. It's saying no when no one is watching. It's being misunderstood. It's choosing long-term strength over short-term pleasure. And because it's boring, most men avoid it. And that's why most men stay weak. But you, if you master this, if you embrace the dull pain of restraint, if you sharpen your self-control until it becomes second nature, you will walk through life untouchable, unbothered by insult, unaffected by temptation, unmoved by fear. You will radiate a presence that can't be faked, because men and women alike will feel it. Here stands a man who is not owned by anything, and that is the new alpha. Final warning. The world is testing you every day. Every screen. Every temptation. Every moment of weakness. And every time you choose impulse over control, you weaken. Every time you give in, you surrender sovereignty. But every time you hold the line, every time you bleed in silence, every time you choose power over pleasure, you become unbreakable. So remember this. Muscles fade. Looks fade. Money can be taken. But self-control is eternal. And in this world, the man who controls himself controls everything. Self-control is the new alpha trait. And most men will never taste it. But you can, if you're willing to bleed for it.